Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's GTA video, we're going to be talking about something, in my opinion, that is incredibly dumb and stupid. It looks like Grand Theft Auto is set to be possibly banned in this U.S. city and state, which would be wild, absolutely wild. So I actually ran across this very interesting article, and I'm actually looking at 4 of them in particular, which I will leave a link to in the description. And essentially, all 4 of these articles said that Grand Theft Auto was set to be banned in this U.S. city. And that city looks to be Chicago, Illinois. These are the titles of the articles. Illinois lawmakers want to ban Grand Theft Auto amid spike in carjackings. The next one is Chicago sees spike in carjacking, prompting call to ban Grand Theft Auto. Another site says, ban sale of Grand Theft Auto, other violent video games, state rep says. And the last one, Grand Theft Auto amongst violent video games banned in Illinois. So this is really all happening really over the last day or so. And my first thought on this is that is absolutely ridiculous. This would not be the first time in which video games, and Grand Theft Auto in particular, has been blamed for various problems that happen in either society, various cities, various countries. And I always take more of a personal offense to this because I am in the video game industry and video games are such a huge part of my life. And I just think it's absolutely ridiculous to point the finger at an entertainment medium as the cause of things that are happening in real life, when honestly there's probably so many more realistic and real reasons for why you're seeing a rise in either crime or carjackings or literally Grand Theft Auto in various cities versus others. So let's just go ahead and read some of the articles right now. This first one coming from Fox32Chicago.com, where they said, people have been saying for months now that teens are running around Chicago and carjacking motorists like it's a video game. But now local lawmakers are doubling down on that idea, saying video game Grand Theft Auto should be banned. Some of the carjacking suspects are not even old enough to drive. On Monday, a 16-year-old was charged, and days ago, 2 15-year-olds were arrested and charged as well. Now, philanthropist Early Walker says violent video games like GTA could be influencing their young minds. And Walker met with Illinois State Representative Marcus Evans in January, and from there, legislation was drafted to amend a 2012 law preventing some games, including GTA, from being sold to children in Illinois. Now, different versions of GTA have been banned and censored across different countries, as I mentioned, but never in the United States. So that was the first website in which I saw this. The next website, which is foxnews.com, said the Chicago Sun-Times reported that Representative Marcus Evans Jr. has called for an amendment to an existing law that would bar the sale of games that depict motor vehicle theft with a driver or a passenger present, which is basically Grand Theft Auto. They go on to say last month, a 14-year-old boy has been arrested for taking part in multiple carjackings, including one involving an off-duty police officer. And Chicago police say carjackings rose about 135% last year to 1,415 cases and continue at a higher pace this year, saying the youngest carjacker arrested in recent attacks was about 12 years old, and the perpetrators often work in crews and are motivated either by joyriding or using the stolen vehicle to commit other crimes. Now, this report pointed out the game has been banned and censored in other countries, and the idea of legislation is to prevent these games from being sold to children in the state. Now, I don't know how it is for you guys as far as purchasing games like Grand Theft Auto, but you can't purchase them unless you're of age, which if you're in the United States, at least for me in Georgia, is 17. So I would assume that these kids are not just getting them from stores or GameStop or whatever. I mean, you could obviously order them online. So that's why I find it a little bit hard to believe that all these young kids would somehow have access to this game if their parents didn't purchase it for them or they weren't able to access it online. So I'm not really entirely sure about that as for being the big reason. But going on to the next article, the Chicago Sun-Times, they said, with carjackings on the rise in Chicago and elsewhere, a South Side state representative has introduced a bill that would ban the sale of Grand Theft Auto and other violent video games. So again, same dude, Marcus Evans Jr., wants to amend a 2012 law preventing some video games from being sold to minors. Friday, he filed HB 3531, which would amend that law to ban the sale of any video game depicting physiological harm, including motor vehicle theft with a driver or passenger present. He goes on to say this bill would prohibit the sale of some of these games that promote the activities that we're suffering from in our communities. And he goes on to say, I feel like this game has become a huge issue in this spectrum. When you compare the two, you see harsh similarities as it relates to these carjackings. And that's where I really get frustrated with this because, of course, Grand Theft Auto, the video game, has things in it that are violent and things that are crimes. I mean, it should be obvious the name of the game is a felony, but anyone who plays that knows that that's just a video game. This video game does not give you like a free pass to go out and be able to commit crimes in real life. I think that's very obvious, and I think that 99.9999% of people are able to differentiate the fact that they're playing a video game, and what they're doing in that video game does not give them a free pass to go do the same thing in public. And so I think it's incredibly short-sighted to just go ahead and blame video games like Grand Theft Auto or the entertainment industry in general on issues and crimes that are happening in a certain community. You would think instead of playing the blame game, you might want to focus on putting extra security measures or, promoting education or increasing police force, whatever the case might be. I just don't think blaming a video game is the way to go about doing this entire thing. Now, besides addressing carjacking, the bill also changes the definition of violent video game to one in which the players control a character within the video game that is encouraged to perpetrate human-on-human violence in which the player kills or otherwise causes serious physical or psychological harm to another human or animal. Well, that basically describes Grand Theft Auto, but only in like the most negative looking at it light. Like there are so many parts of Grand Theft Auto that don't encourage violence, whether that's customizing cars, whether that's exploring the world, taking photographs. Like there's so many things that you can do that don't necessarily involve you being like a bad person. And even at the end of the day, even if it was all things that encourage you to be a bad person, guess what? It's still a video game, which doesn't give you a free pass, nor does it encourage you to go do this in real life. And the last article that at least I saw, I'm sure this is going to get picked up a little bit more, was on NME.com. I had never heard of this before, but they basically said the exact same thing that the other articles ended up saying, just sort of summarizing that Grand Theft Auto was going to get banned and then like sourcing a bunch of sites. So you guys can let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. I feel like I got a little bit spicy and passionate about this as well, just because it is so important to me that video games are not banned and are allowed to be. And really, it's because they don't encourage you to do anything. At the end of the day, they're a video game. It's just a form of entertainment, like music, a TV show, movie. You have to know fiction from reality, and most people do. But in this case, you've got someone that I think is looking to take the easy route on trying to solve issues in their community rather than getting to the root of the actual problems. But again, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Let me know what you guys think down there. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you want to stay up to date on all the latest GTA and Red Dead Redemption videos that I'm doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.